Hey there, it's Josh. Welcome back to Let's Game It Out. We're checking out Shapez 2 today. Thank you, developers, for the key. And also, this video is sponsored by StallCraft X, but more on that in a little bit. And look how fun this looks. Conveyor belts, trains, all getting sucked into a black hole. I must have died and gone to heaven, and there's only one way to know for sure. New game! Here's how the basic setup is gonna go. We're gonna start on normal difficulty, and we're gonna start with operator certification, which more or less means messing with shapes kind of like this. Because I don't think I'm ready for this or this, and especially not this, let alone whatever these are. No, obviously we need to be certified first. That way we'll all understand. Ah, good, and just like the real world, we have some paperwork we have to sign. Welcome to your certification. Here's all you really need to know. Simply deliver the requested shapes as efficient as possible. That's it, which means we'll go straight to the signing. I will strive for efficiency and build no spaghetti factories. That's definitely a lie. Additionally, I will not damage any buildings. Also a lie. But I need to click these things or else the continue won't pop up. Okay, here we are in the wild world of shapes. Right here in the middle is our delivery void thing. And as we collect stuff, we're gonna deliver it here. Straight into the vortex. Oh, but what will we deliver? And where will we find it? Well, the first things we need are all around us. Specifically, it's these things right here. In this case, it's a whole bunch of circles that at the moment are hiding from us and we need to extract them. Easy enough. We've got a tool for that. So basically, we take our extractor and we just run it over each one of these spots. And then, ta-da! We've got little circles already emerging. And then we can go ahead and pair that with my favorite thing of all time, conveyor belts, to do a little something that looks like this. Ah, yeah, there it goes. I know it's super basic looking, but boy does it scratch that mental itch. Oh, but the fun doesn't stop there. We can even erase one of these if we want to, and instead place a new one that's facing the other direction. Now we can do fun stuff like this. Look at that, we're already getting so efficient. And we're gonna need these circles because our first milestone is right up there. To complete that, we gotta take 10 of these and move them from here, across this gap right here, and then over to the void. That shouldn't be too hard at all. We'll just use these two belts since that should be enough. And look at that, they can just jump the gap like it's nothing. And just to keep it simple for now, we'll just do a straight line all the way into the hole. Couldn't be more simple. And then before you know it, in they go. Fly free, little shapes. That was so easy to get 10. Or as a Roman numeral, X. Hey, speaking of X, let's talk about our sponsor, StallCraft X. StallCraft X is the largest online game to be set in the vast open world of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. That's full of mutants, anomalies, and other oddities to discover. And you can discover all that for free on PC, both solo or with friends. And the game just received some major updates. There's the new Northern storyline, where you get to face the harsh conditions of brand new Northern locations and pick a side among 4 different factions. There's even a new mechanism for clan wars and outposts for some really intense PvP. Not to mention there's a new loot spawn system that makes exploration more rewarding, as well as the arrival of personal shelters where you can rest and rebuild between tough battles, a brand new animation engine that's been developed over the last 2 years, the largest update to the graphics engine ever, and enhanced NPC intelligence for both smarter and more interesting interactions. So if you're looking to spend some time in the new and improved exclusion zone, there's a link in the description to start playing right now for free, and also use code LetsGameItOut24 for all these free in-game goodies. This code will work both for new players and those that haven't logged in for a while. And thanks again to StallCraft X for sponsoring. Okay, great. Now we've got 2 fun things to do. We got a full square and then a half circle. Full square is just as easy. We can see them right here just waiting for us. I'll try to utilize all 16 of these this time, with each one aiming a different direction. Then we'll go ahead and add a whole system of conveyor belts, all of which are going to make tons of sense. Oh, yes, they will. With everything eventually leading over here to the jump pads. Yeah, see, there we go. That's more like it. It couldn't be more simple. Things pop up, get forced onto the conveyor belts, and then everything starts to get jammed because everything is connected to everything else, and before you know it, everything eventually finds its way over here. That's really the important part, and each one of these gets connected to the end, where they make a journey across, and all the way to their new home. And as you can see by the 4 conveyor belts, clearly we have maximum efficiency going here. What with 3 of the belts being completely filled, and then this one, that has just one solitary piece every so often. I'm sure it's not my fault for how I organized all this stuff. Surely this is peak efficiency. And then before you you know what? This one's done too. And now to deal with these half-size ones. This will be easy for us to fix with our convenient cutting tool. So all we need to do is divert one of these belts over to the side, and then we take one of our cutting conveyor belts, which destroys the west half of any shape, place it right there on the production line, and watch as it just cuts it in half. Well, that was easy. And then we'll just have this thing flip a U and just go right back onto the belt. Now, wait your turn. Next milestone coming through. And yeah, I could like make multiples of these, so we're cutting them a little bit faster, kind of like this, so that we can have a lot of production going on at the same time. But that sounds like a tomorrow problem. I'm a patient man. I can wait with just the ones we got. I mean, look at that. We're already at 16 delivered. And while that's going on, we gotta head back over here to the circles and do the same thing. Well, you know what we need to do, and that's make something beautiful as fast as we can. Oh, and also check out this fun thing we can have. We can make our own little jumpy things. Oh, that's gonna help entirely with sharing the load. And now that is a fully working, well, mostly working, something working machine. Let's grab one of these. We'll pull it off to the side. And actually, let's grab this one too. And what the hey, how about this one too? Add a couple of cutting things. Watch as it makes the magic for us. And then send it all back over so that they can join all their friends getting shot into the void. There we go, another milestone down. And now it wants us to do a quarter one, which easy enough. Take some of these, drag them off the conveyor belt. But this time around, we can't just add a cutting thing because it won't cut anything. See, look at the picture. It's gonna make that, and it already looks like that. So instead of this thing, we gotta use this thing right here. The rotator. Rotates shapes 90 degrees clockwise. So we'll just add one of these, and then we'll add a cutter, and now it's gonna rotate and cut it to make it just the way we need it. And then like all the others, we just send it back. And I guess I could actually connect it right here like that, and give it its own dedicated way into the void, but I feel like we're saving that for something special. So instead, we'll just add it to this one, and just make the congestion even worse. And then 60 of these later, milestone complete. Unlock a reward in the milestones interface. Don't mind if I do. And here we are in the milestone section. All these shapes are the stuff we've already done, and now let's unlock milestone 1. Oh, how lucky we are. New content, new tasks, new upgrades. Oh god, look at these shapes we have to make now. My brain already hurts. I guess we'll start with this thing. A square and a circle. Well, it can't be that hard, right? So for this, we're gonna need some of the circles, as well as over here, we're gonna need some of these squares. Here we go, we'll just pull that out like that. Although it doesn't feel like there's enough on this production line. Not when there's this steady stream of goodness right here. So here's how I'm gonna fix this little problem. I'm gonna connect these conveyor belts right here like this, so that half of them are being shoved over into this line, and then right behind it, I'm gonna start pulling half off that conveyor belt. That'll probably work out. And then I'll take these ones and route them back this way, making sure to also add one of these jumpy things, and then connect this to the other thing. There we go, squares for days. I'm so excited for this to rapidly become a logistical nightmare. Anyway, now we have our square stuff, as well as our circle stuff, and now we just need to figure out how to get these shapes to fall in love. Well, that's easy, because it's stacking time. Allow me to demonstrate. First, we'll send the square pieces in like this. Wait, no. Oh, no. Oh, whoops, I guess I connected both. I think it'll be fine anyway, because we're gonna change how the circles work anyway, by raising them up a level. And now when these little circle thingies arrive, they just reach this thing and get raised up. And then we can just head back over here to the stacker thingy, raise our view to the second floor, and then build our conveyor belt so it goes on the top. And now it gets to work building a thing. The first few that are coming out are gonna be kind of the wrong thing, because we did a circle with a square thingy, not a circle and a circle thingy. But that's okay, eventually we see the right thing being made. See, there we go, a perfect square circle thingy. And now this machine will just keep on making them for eternity, with all of our beautiful shapes heading away. And while we're gonna aim them over at the void, we can get over this conveyor belt here by raising to the second level, building over it like so, and then heading back down to the ground floor to connect it to the launchy thingy. Okay, in you go. We only need 240. Oh, and look at this. You see that pin task? Look, there's the circle thingy I made. It turns out I do need to make them. It's just not a main milestone. Instead, if you head on up here to tasks, you've got side tasks to complete. A whole bunch of them, in fact. We're not even certified yet, and there's so many shapes we can do. Well, if that's the case, let's head back on over here to this. Drag some of these off, as well as on the second floor, grab some of these circle thingies too. And actually, how fancy can we get with this up and down conveyor belt system? Like, can I just take this thing and go like down, and then over, and then up, and then over, and then down, etc., etc.? And it turns out, yes, you can. You can just send them up and down, over and over forever. Well, then why wouldn't I? Actually, wait, this wider spot underneath is giving me an idea. Because do you see this conveyor belt in the back over here? Do you think I can thread it through one of these? It looks like I can't on this side because there's not enough clearance. But what about if I go on this side? Okay, there we go. Looks like you can go underneath. Can I weave these two conveyor belts together? Hold please and let me give it a shot. And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. I mean, it's a little hard to tell what's going on because of all the things going up and then back down. But as you can see, it totally works. Circle things weaving up and down, getting to the end and turning around and going back, all while crossing over with all the other things to create a nice big mishmash of unnecessary. Sure is pretty though. And once it's done going through the entire weave, the circle pieces come out here. And then meanwhile, all the way on the other side is where the square pieces come out, which I guess kind of defeats the purpose because I needed them together. But that's actually perfect because it means this was even more unnecessary while I just build the things across and then ultimately have these two sides meet in the middle where they can join up with that stacker. So this time circles on bottom and square thingies on top. Okay, great. Oh, whoops, I got sidetracked. That's not even on our list of stuff to make. I was supposed to make a circle thing. No problem, easy fix. We're not even gonna dismantle this thing because what if we end up needing it? We'll just split this thing off twice, one above and one below. There we go, problem solved. And you know what? Just in the off chance that we do need these ones for something, we'll just rope them into the conveyor belt that's heading on over to the void. Who knows, when they fly in, maybe we'll find out they're good for something. Well, doesn't appear to be the case, actually. Whatever, I'm sure the Void loves free stuff. Who doesn't? We also can't forget about making just these little corner pieces, which we're gonna use this conveyor belt right here, which is actually a mix of half pieces and whole pieces. But don't worry, I've got a solution for that. We're just gonna add a rotator, and then a cutter, and then another rotator, and then another cutter. That way, no matter what kind of piece it is, it's gonna get rotated, and cut, and then rotated, and cut, and by the end, they're all gonna be the same, which actually, it turns out, eliminates some of them entirely. Hey, whatever. Works for me. Look, the pieces are getting made and that's what matters. See, it's working out just fine. Now all the numbers are going up. So very quickly too. But no need for us to just sit here and wait for this to finish. We got other stuff we can prepare. We can see what we're gonna have to do next. So this thing is gonna have to go from whole to a half and then a quarter. And this quarter thing is gonna have to turn into a stacked quarter thing and then whatever this is. So let's tackle these now. And at the same time, we can increase our efficiency. Look at all this stuff not moving very fast. It's just waiting for someone to come in here, use these resources to make yet another machine. And I don't actually know if it's faster, but we're gonna put the cutting machines on this side so that everything is getting nice and trimmed first, and then we'll be stacked together. Is this what it feels like to do homework ahead of time? This is a strange and scary new feeling for me. Oh good, and even when these half pieces get launched, it actually adds to the count of the thing that's not done yet. Well, thank goodness for that. Then we're just gonna set up these other things that make this stacked thing, make sure that's shoved into the production pool with everything else. I'm pretty much just looking at every belt, staring at these shapes, asking myself, can I make this with that? The answer is yes, so some of these shapes get pulled off the production line, and then I apply whatever needs to be done, so that when these two shapes are combined, it ends up looking a little something like this. Then we just shove it back into the thing again. Well, if that's the case, this gives me an idea. I know this one is almost done, but I'm actually gonna erase this entry point so that these ones can finish delivering. And why don't we go ahead and just complete them backwards? Let's just deliver all these ones first. We don't even need to do anything that fancy. We can just cut up these ones that are already here. There we go, now just the corner pieces are going in. Before you know it, all these low numbers look a lot more like this. And now let's have these ones finish. There's 1 and 2. Excellent, straight on to milestone 2. Looks like we've unlocked some blueprints. We thought you might need this. You can now copy and paste parts to your factory, but not the messy ones, please. I mean, this isn't really messy, is it? Yet. And we got these fun new tasks, which all look pretty easy to me. Oh, and I never went and cleared out this pinned task. Basically, it's gonna allow us to unlock a research point, which is good, because if we have enough research points, we can do fun upgrades, like making stuff like our belts go faster, and lets us efficiently do other stuff, like cutting and swapping and trashing and rotating and bending. Ooh, and labeling, and a third floor. Okay, well now we need this. Sorry, milestone 3. I gotta do all these pin tasks first. We gotta get us those research points. And that's what makes our factory go from looking like this to something more like this. I've been busy setting some stuff up, and it paid off because now every single one of these is done. I mean, for now. As we can see, there's definitely gonna be more. But for now, let's go ahead and unlock and unlock and unlock, and so on and so forth. Yes, crawl up the side of my screen. Tell me about all the research I've unlocked. And there we go. Now we have 72 glorious research points. Let's get some upgrades. Now these all look great, but obviously the first thing we need to unlock is this third floor, allowing you to build on even more layers. Gee willikers. And I think the next thing we need is labels, which we will use only appropriately. And all this other stuff is really practical, like being able to rotate the other direction or do a full 180. But I'd rather just upgrade my belts first. First to level 2, and then to level level 3. And I guess that's it for now since we don't have 20 more points. So for the remaining few we have, they're just going into cutting and stacking. Oh yeah, everything's so much more lively now. It's like all of a sudden all these shapes have somewhere to be. Oh, and in case you were wondering what kinds of machines I made, I mean, I could show you some of my work here, but honestly, I don't even know where to begin. There's no real method to my madness here. Basically, I know I need to do a shape like this one, and I've got two choices. Go back to where all the original squares are and start taking from this, or start looking around to see if I can find something that'll make the process shorter. Ah, yes, like these. These have 2 squares. This thing has 2 squares. This'll be perfect. So you come with me. We're going on an adventure. And now for part 2, we're basically gonna look around and see if I can find something that'll help out. All while awkwardly dragging this entire conveyor belt with me until eventually I find what I'm looking for. These things. Now we have all the pieces we need to make this thing. And that's how shape babies are made. Now get on that conveyor belt and unlock some new milestones for us. In fact, let's mark that occasion. Yes, good. Oh yeah, it's perfect. The best possible use of the labeling system. And now while we wait for this milestone to finish, let's check out not the 2nd floor, but the 3rd floor. Oh my goodness, what a fresh canvas. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of curious. Can I just start dragging a conveyor belt out and then just keep dragging it out? You know, kind of into like a spiral thing. Like, will it ever be like, no, you have to let go of the button? Or is it just gonna let me do this all the way around the entire thing? Well, only one way to know for sure. And the answer is yes. You can hold down the mouse and draw a conveyor belt over the entire thing. Sure is pretty too. I hope it's just as pretty when it actually builds. Oh, that doesn't feel very pretty. It's so sandy colored. Well, no problem. We'll just go down a floor. Oh no. Well, I guess this is our factory now. Most of the inner workings hidden from us. It's kind of like the whole thing is a CPU core now. And I was about to say, like, I don't even think I can deal with staring at this the entire time and trying to navigate everything just looking through these belts. And then I realized I don't need to worry about that because on the far side over here, we can toggle floor visibility. Toggles the visibility of structures above the current floor. Let's give it a shot. Ah, much better. Thank goodness we can see again. I also only now realize the milestones are trying to teach you stuff. Like, hey, look, you're gonna build this thing and it's just gonna go on top of this square. But then we need you to make this thing, and then you're gonna add that thing onto the top of this thing to make this mangled looking thing. What a beaut. The good news, by the way, is if ever I actually do want to get this thing out of the way, you can just select the whole thing and then go to save blueprint. Abomination. And then if ever I can't actually take it anymore and I need to delete it for a second, I can always just drop it back in anytime I want. I also don't know if you're supposed to or not, but do you see these little symbols next to these things being launched into the void? You'll notice that most of them are a bunch of X's, and then occasionally a green check mark, which I'm pretty sure the X means we don't need to be delivering that, and the green means we do. So I could probably stop building this stuff, but I'd rather just keep building it for fun. Why delete anything when I can just keep adding on to it? That's how you make a factory beautiful and hideous. Anyway, before you know it, everything's done. And now it's time to unlock, oh my god, a whole bunch of stuff. Well, let's see. Space platforms. You may now build space platforms and foundations to expand in the universe. For those ones, though, we've added a platform limit. I mean, we're not insane, right? I'll be the judge of that. And now we've got all this stuff, like space platforms and space belts and space belt tunnel entrances and all kinds of other stuff. And as a reward, we get 500 squares. I don't know what that means yet. But most importantly, do you know what this means? We're operator certified. As the proud owner of the certification, you can start working on a real factory. Hey! And earn us some shapes. And now it's time to choose what kind of factory we want. Well, I think it's safe to say we're gonna go with factory normal, because these I can conceptualize. These hard shapes, what the hell are these? I couldn't even freehand draw these. Factory normal it is. Okay, milestone 4 looks like, well, what's this? These look normal, except they're blue and red. Where do I get blue and red? Oh, maybe I need to keep zooming out. A little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. Oh, I think I get it now. I think I get how big this game actually is. And it would appear there is a lot to do. Well, shall we continue? Although I'm not really sure what the first thing is that I need to do. I gotta figure out where to find red and blue stuff. I mean, this looks pretty red. Can we help ourselves to some space jello? But then I noticed this over in the background. Wait a minute, this one has shapes on it. And wait a minute, so does this one. Wait a minute, there's shapes all around. Look, there's a blue one and a red one. Oh, okay, I get it. I just noticed we have an entirely new category of stuff. Before we were over here in shape processing, but now we've moved on to platforms. Oh, here's all those things, like the shape miner and space belts. And I bet this thing is like the equivalent of the extractor. Let's give it a shot and find out. Oh, yep, there we go. Now we can just see it sitting on that piece, mining that shape. I just realized that I'm connecting the dots, that this is what our base was already doing. I've been sitting here mining these circles, not realizing that the mining's been happening underneath them all this time. Well then wait, what are these things behind it? I thought they were decoration. Nope, they're shape miner extensions. Increases the throughput of a shape miner. And having these three things connected to it is the reason that we have not 1, 2, 3, but 4 groups to mine from, opposed to this one over here, which as you can see only has the one. And we can make our own shape miner extension things. See, there we go, they're all open now. Wait, what if I just add another one? Can I do that? Okay, another one just closes up. Well, just for now to save on platform units, I'm gonna not have any of these. And instead, we're just gonna work with what we got. And I'm gonna allow these things to all get their own conveyor belt. What posh royalty for them. Besides, we still need to figure out how to get them to our base, which I'm gonna assume is what these foundations are for. Yep, that does appear to be the case. Costs 2 to make and allows us to build them all the way over to our thingamabob. Wait, can I remove the ones under my base? Aw, well, it was worth a shot. Okay, now we have a way to send everything back. And thank goodness we have so much real estate for screwing around. Now I don't have to care about this ugly thing. Anything that needs to go to the void, I'll just connect to this conveyor belt, and it'll eventually make its way to the middle. Okay, so naturally these are gonna need a little work. After all, that shape does not represent this shape. Luckily, it's gonna require just one cut. And now everything's right as rain. Hang on, before we send these back, are we still doing too much work? Like, is it possible out here we can find something that'll match this shape, and then I won't have to cut anything at all? Well, let's look around and see. Surely the right shape is out here somewhere, right? Come on, half red circle thing. You gotta be here somewhere. Aha! There it is! And it appears to be in sector -5, -D. Well, in that case, no problem. If this is us here, all we would need to do is drag them all the way back over here to 0A. Okay, it's settled. This is our new goal. We're gonna try to mine this spot right here. All we need to do is start taking foundations and making a path all the way home. Yep. Still going. Still going. Oh yeah, I have a really good feeling about this. Look how much distance we're already covering. I mean, look, we're already halfway through -4, -C. I feel like nothing can stop us now. Oh, except for maybe running out of platform units. Because we've already used 500 of our 500 allotted. But you can increase the amount via research. Oh boy, look. More tasks to do. Wait a minute, I'm overthinking this. I've got another idea on how to handle this. Back over here with the stuff I need to extract. What if I put a shape miner down, start extracting all those resources, and send them over on the conveyor belt, where they will happily jump from this side over to this side where a big surprise awaits. That's kind of a spiral thing, where it's gonna collect a whole bunch of these things, and once it gets to the center, don't you worry, the party doesn't end here, because then it goes up to a second floor, where now the spiral goes the opposite direction, which once it's done expanding out, we're still not done, we have a third story, don't forget, and that's where it goes, to the next belt. And then once it reaches the end of this, oh dear, where are they going now? Oh, you know, just another platform where it collects them all and does it all again. And then once it's filled top to bottom, I think you know what's about to happen. And it'll just keep going and going and going. Now you might be wondering, why go through all this hassle? Why make all these conveyor belts? Well, because I want each one of these foundation pieces to be holding on to as many of these as possible. And this game does give us some fun stats. Like if we just highlight this whole stack, it'll tell us that there's 583 buildings, of which 581 are conveyor belts, and then each one of these launchy thingies. And I believe when we click on an individual piece, I think it's basically saying that there's 2 of these on the belt at any given time. So I guess that means for this entire stack, if there's 581 belts, and each one can hold 2 at a time, there's 1,162 shapes on this one foundation. Well, that's great. That's almost the 1,200 we need, as well as some extras just in case. And so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill up as many of these foundations as we can, and then once they're all filled up, that's when we head all the way back, gaze upon where it all began one more time, and then highlight and delete. Now that we've got these, it's time to head all the way back to the front of it, add a new foundation, wait for this one to fill all the way up, head all the way back to the end of the line, and now that this one is pretty much empty, say goodbye, and then back to the front, and so on and so forth. And that's how we're gonna get all these little pieces back to our base when we don't have enough platform units to connect the two. So hold, please, while we get this little caravan all the way back home. Okay, it's just about done. We've managed to take this caravan across the galaxy. And if you look all the way to the right, look over there, there's my base. And if you look all the way over to the left, there's our caravan. I feel like I was doing this for an eternity. Oh, but it was worth it. All of that so we didn't have to use the imperfections of this thing. Anyway, we've come this far, and I'm feeling a little bit lazy, so we're gonna take it the rest of the way with one single belt that just goes across all of these, and then makes an abrupt turn, and then down this way, up 2 flights, and then straight onto this thing. And now it has no choice but to make its way to the void. Why, look, here they come now. They're gonna be here any second. Yes, any second. They just have to travel a few foundations. See, there it is. That didn't take very long. And let's get ready for... Oh. Uh-oh. Wait, what's happening? Don't you want to go on the belt? What are you waiting for? Everything's connected like it should be. What in tarnation is happening here? Okay, so I've spent a little time deconstructing and rebuilding my giant conveyor belt, and I've been slowly adding one belt at a time, and I think we may have accidentally discovered a limit. Right now, this is as far as the conveyor belt goes. As you can see, it doesn't go all the way to the center. And as you can also see, the shapes are coming through just fine. But if we head back on over here, and we start adding a couple more belts, watch what happens. We start to get some weird graphical issues. Oh, that's not all though. At the very end of the belt, one mysterious shape appears, but also this new behavior. Huh. Looks like these things start flowing on the conveyor belt, and then they jump over, and then they just give up. And it just does this over and over and over again. And we do have a small line of them still making their way on the conveyor belt, but if we keep adding more belts, eventually something happens. They just disappear entirely, and no amount of me building back the conveyor belt seems to change anything. But if I erase the parts that I made, eventually when we go far enough back, stuff starts flowing again. I think you can see the solution that's about to happen, right? This might be as long as the belt can go without glitching out. And I can't think of anything more fitting for this than to have to let this part of the conveyor belt fill up, and then once it reaches as far as it can go, we'll just go all the way back to where it starts, highlight and delete some of the existing conveyor belt, go back down here, add some more back to the end, and eventually we'll get there. And no, I can't just go across and deliver it straight away. We have our principles to think about. Besides, I'm pretty sure the void will know.
Yes, it's true. I will know. So no cheating.
Okay, geez. I wasn't planning on it anyway. Besides, it's about the journey, not the destination. I mean, until we get to the destination. Then this most certainly is the point. Well, I have a good feeling about this. We haven't even gone one full revolution around the belt, and we're already past 200 out of 1200. Oh yeah, we definitely had enough. And with a whole bunch to spare. You can have those. Consider them a tip for a job well done. Well, that was easy. Yes, that's what I'm gonna call this whole process of dragging these things across the galaxy. But enough about that. We have a new target. The full circle of red. Well, you know what we have to do. Locate it across the galaxy and bring it back. I don't know how far out the galaxy goes, but it's really, really far. Oh, there we go. Found it. In quadrant 127 negative BC. Don't worry, that's only painfully far from us. Well, time to get started. After all, it's gonna be a long journey home, and I don't think our bodies like being out this far, judging by how everything is getting kind of jittery looking out here. Apparently, the human body was not designed for such stress. I want to thank Stallcraft X again for sponsoring this video. If you want to play it for free right now, check out my linky in the description below. And something tells me we may see this game again, because there's a lot of stuff we still haven't gotten to, including one that always interests me. So I hope you had fun. I know I did. And I'll see you next time.